We are back. It's been a while. Yes, 2 whole weeks. Not 2 whole weeks. Yeah, it's been about 2 whole weeks. I haven't streamed since we had our little birthday stream a little while ago, but we're a little late today. I was supposed to do this yesterday, but we're doing it today. Better late than never. I was a little tired, so anyway, we got patch notes. League of Legends 26.5 and Teamfight Tactics 16.6. As per usual, they will be divided into two videos on YouTube. If you happen to be watching on YouTube, we'll do League of Legends first, and then if you're more interested in TFT, that'll be a second follow-up video. I also saw the Shyvana Champion Spotlight. She's looking pretty nice. They did a good job actually preserving the identity of the champion. I just hope she's really good top lane. Anyway, enough stalling. Oh, is my camera okay? We good? Okay. Enough stalling. Let's get into it. We got this Prestige Sona skin for the Act 2 pass to start us off here. Alright. Brawl returns. I've played a few Brawl games with some lower level friends. Doesn't seem terrible. So, hey, if Brawl is your cup of tea, it's back. Next, Champions. Straight into Champions, huh? Akali. Akali's restill timer on her Shroud scales with game time. Since we've adjusted Summoner's Rift pacing and League now has multiple modes, so there's a bit more flexibility. One second. So this is the time it takes her to go invisible again when she breaks the stealth. So 1 second down to 6.625. Okay, so it just scales with her level now. So it's the same scaling, but now it's with her level. You know, this might actually make her better top lane, right? you get the levels faster. I've only seen a couple of Kali tops, and it's never when I'm playing top anyway. Yeah, I get it though, right? Like this timer is not so helpful if you're playing ARAM, for example, or Arena. Okay. Technically a buff, I would guess. Azir. Health growth. Slightly decreased. I mean, it's not slightly. It's what, 11? 11 health per level. So that can be pretty significant. By the time you get to level 10, you know it's 110 HP. It's always weird with Azir because he's a pro jailed champion, right? He's a champion that's like broken at the highest level of skill, but he's kind of meh for everyone else. Garen! Garen is moderately powerful but statistically underpowered. Please be careful buffing Garen. He's one of the easiest champs in the game, and there was a period last year where he was just the best top laner straight up. Decisive strike move speed duration 1 to 3.6. It's now 1.4 to 3.6. So he's actually better earlier on when you haven't maxed your Q yet, because you max his E first. Damage per spin 4 to 16 plus 50% AD. 4 to 16 up to 52% AD. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't really mean much for like Garen in lane. I do think the extra half second of movement speed can be pretty significant. Because when you play Garen, you max his E first, right? You buy like Stridebreaker, Berserkers, Greaves first, you max his E, and then you max the Q second. And sometimes you don't even just straight up max the Q. I know in some matchups I actually kind of prefer to put a few extra points in his W, because it just makes his trading power so good. But yeah, not bad. You have that 1 point in Q, you get an extra half second of movement speed. Could be a pretty big deal. Kha'Zix. Hey guys. What does Kha'Zix say when he breaks his $20? Change is good. I've been telling that joke for years. So Kha'Zix, -5 movement speed. Taste their fear. -5% bonus AD. Ooh, and -11% of the isolated bonus. That's pretty good. That hits pretty hard. I mean, you don't have a lot of bonus AD early on, but this does help combat the snowballing, and you get punished less a little bit for the isolated damage. I've been hearing a lot of people talk about how broken Kha'Zix is, but I've seen Rengar, and more Rengar. So I bet Kha'Zix is really, really good, but a lot of people are picking Rengar over Kha'Zix, just from my personal experience. Lee Sin. Lee Sin has lost some of his skill and flair as of late and could use some help. Isn't it crazy, by the way, that Lee Sin is one of the older champions in the game and he still has some of the highest skill expression compared to some of the newer champs in the game? That's insane to me. They don't make them like they used to, I guess. Alright, next. Or I didn't actually read it. So 60 to 180 is now 65 to 185. So he gets 5 damage. Okay. It's just a little bit to help him out. Lilia. We overshot Lilia's Q nerf. Monster heal bonus AP ratio. Up 6%. That's not a small number. That's not a small number. An extra 6% healing on her AP ratio. And then a 5% bonus AP ratio on her Q. Lilting Lullaby base damage. Up 50. AP ratio's down. Oh, but you don't even care about the damage in the AP ratio on Lilting Lullaby. What you care about is the cooldown. Minus 10 seconds. Yeah, these are some moderate buffs across the board. She gets more ults. Bonus AP on her main damaging ability. Plus bonus healing. Lilia might be back. She might be back, man. Mel. Okay, so I feel like we've talked Mel to death at this point, right? We all know the big issue with this champion. She's not necessarily the best champion, but she's really easy. And she has super polarizing matchups where there's like no way that you could ever beat her. Right? Just no counterplay whatsoever. Mel's recent update and follow-up balance work has succeeded in creating more counterplay and thus reducing her frustration and ban rate. Initial dust now settled. It's time to bring her up to a more reasonable power level. I don't know. I don't like the idea of this champion actually being strong. Again, I feel like she's a little too easy of a champion overall. Searing Brilliance, minion damage modifier. Actually a little lower. Makes it harder for her to just have perfect CS. Radiant Volley, her Q. Base damage per bolt. So it's scaled 5 to 9, now it's 5 to 13. Total Q damage. 90 to 270 is now 90 to 310. So an extra potential 40 base damage if you hit every bolt. Golden Eclipse, her ultimate. Initial base damage 100 to 200 is now 125 to 275. So an extra 25 at level 1, 50 at level 2, and 75 at level 3. These aren't the biggest changes in the world. It's a nice little buff to her base damage. It's weird because, again, the champ's not great. It's just that no one likes playing against it. She's in that really weird spot where there's like so many conflicting things about the champion that make people just straight up dislike her. Because, like, she's not difficult. She's very, very, very easy. And then she just kind of blasts you over and over the course of the lane phase. And some champions, depending on what she's picked into, you can't, like, really fight her at all, ever. And then she last hits all the kills, and then she's, like, always a problem, and she always has a good KDA. So it's, like, it's not proportional at all to what her actual win rate is. I don't know. I don't like this champion potentially being good, but I suppose we will see where it goes from here. I don't want her to be good. I don't think anyone wants her to be good. I think we've seen enough of this champ, but keep an eye open, right? Nico! W Shapeshifter. Please just nerf Nico support specifically. I feel like this champ is cool and is a lot of fun when she's not the support. Slightly less Trixie Nikoses. Cooldown now starts on clone expiration instead of on cast. Oh, wow. That's a big one. Because that clone can run around for a while. And then the ability just doesn't go on cooldown. Nico can no longer use Control +5, which plays the joke expression for clone only. Nico can still joke, dance, recall to make their clone initiate said actions. Alright, less clones. I mean, I can get behind that. You know what's funny? When Nico first came out, this was the gimmick that everyone thought would make her the most broken champion ever because you could play such severe mind games. And it took years for them to actually be like, okay, you can turn into more than just champions. And then it was right then that she instantly became broken. Nocturne! You know, they should just they should rework Nocturne already. We're getting the Shyvana rework. Rework Nocturne. I don't know if you all remember the poll from years ago now. It was Udyr, Skarner, Nocturne, Shyvana, and Tryndamere, right? And now we've gotten Udyr, Skarner, and Shyvana. So now we just need Nocturne and Tryndamere, I believe, from that original poll. So hopefully they get some rework soon. And the sad part is, I think Nocturne is fine as a champion in terms of design. He doesn't need like a full-on rework. He just kind of needs his kid just needs to be kind of spruced up a little bit, I think. It doesn't even need to be strong. Because I feel like Nocturne's a strong champion already. Honestly. His ult is just so good. But I feel like there's room to make him more scary. You know? I think everyone would be happy with him receiving at least a new model, some new voice lines, and some quality of life changes to make him truly terrifying. So his passive, Umbral Blades. 1 less second. Dustbringer. Bonus move speed 15 to 35 is now 20 to 40. So good for you, Nocturne. Then one of Nocturne's best friends, Orianna, right below him. Her Q, command attack. 6 to 3 seconds, now 7 to 3 seconds. So an extra second makes her lane phase her early lane phase a little less oppressive. You still max this first, right? Or do you? Do you max her W first? It has been a long time since I played some Orianna, so I'm actually not sure. But hopefully this should attack her laning a little bit. Samira. Didn't they just last patch give her lifesteal scaling back? We're giving Samira some love in the form of quality of life and minor bug fixing around her Q. Q will now deal multiple additional checks to see if there are units on both the right and left of her. If there are, more importantly, if there are no units far in front of her, she will use her sword Q. If there is a unit far in front of her, she will still use her gun Q. I see, because Samira's Q, if you're in melee, it does something different. So this is to give you more agency over making sure the right version of the Q comes out. Q is now properly sealed during her passive. This resolves cases between Q can go on cooldown despite not being used if pressed during her passive's animation. Wow, I didn't know that could even happen. Samira Q will now do a check to see if the enemy is walking away from her. It's the very last part of her sword Q's range. If so, she will instead use gun Q. Extreme cases where champions can simply walk away from her Q at a very low move speed. Damn, that sounds frustrating. Right, so if you're a Samira main, because this is stuff I wouldn't have even thought of without playing Samira myself. But you know, this champ is super feast or famine. When this champ is doing well, she just drops a penna on your dome. every time. The last Samira I had dropped 19 kills. Right, I was autofill that game. I just played Nautilus and we just killed them over and over. Talia. Base damage on her Q, 55 to 125 is now... She lost 5 damage, whatever. Bonus monster damage, 20 to 40 is now 23 to 43. So they're trying to pull Talia back into the jungle. I feel like this is like the third buff in a row Talia jungle has gotten. She has like really high presence mid lane, especially at really high levels. Right? Like she's like super popular, especially in pro play, but it's never jungle anymore. It's always mid lane. But you know, that's always going to happen with champs that have macro-based spells. Like her ult is a macro spell. So, you know, like Galio, like Pantheon, she's always going to have a certain level of priority in higher levels of play. Varus! Varus, look, canonically, you're kind of 3 people at once, having 3 times the bounce changes, so other champions is only fair, right? We're nerfing his lethality build. Because on-hit Varus and bot lane is weak, we're compensating 80 on-hit Varus. I mean, I guess they just nerfed AP Varus, right? So, I really feel for the Varus ADC mains. I feel like I said this last time. If you play Varus ADC, and you play him the traditional on-hit, it has probably been rough for you these past couple months. Because people are either banning or taking Varus away because of the AP build and the lethality build, and they don't even play like a conventional ADC. They just play like a caster. So, Piercing Arrow, his Q, maximum damage, 80 to 400 plus 170% bonus AD. It's now 80 to 360 plus 150. God damn. So Varus's Q lost 40 base damage and 20% of its AD scaling. 20%, man. Holy crap. They're getting sick of these poke builds, man. That's pretty good. I like that. Blighted Quiver, that's his W. On hit damage, 80 to 44 plus 25% AP is now 80 to 44 plus 25% AP plus 15% bonus AD. So they actually added an AD ratio onto his on hit. So even though you got this massive nerf onto his Q, this is a pretty significant buff to his on hit. So if you like on hit Varus, this is pretty good. Volibear. Volibear's last set of nerfs were effective at hitting jungle harder than top, but ended a bit over the line still. Yeah, I feel like most of the Volibears I've seen is like 80% jungle. Thundering Smash, an extra 20% physical damage. Dude, I feel like they've been pushing the agenda for AD Volibear for a while now, and it got worse with this season because of Dusk and Dawn making AP Volibear his better build again. So that they're really, really trying to get people back onto the AD Volley hype train. This is really good though, because of if you like to do Grasp Volley top and play for the tankier builds, this can be pretty good. Who knows, Triforce Volley might make a resurgence at this rate. Frenzied Maul, mana cost, 30 to 50 is now 20 to 40, so 10 less. Wounded bonus, plus 15 per 100 bonus, plus 25%. Oh my goodness, I really want to try a Triforce Volley game now. Sky Splitter, minus 10 mana. Yeah, just some huge buffs to AD Volibear again. Hubris. I only buy this item on Pantheon. And I only buy this item on Pantheon because I use the Perseus Pantheon skin. And he wears Hubris on his head. He wears the laurel. So I feel like I have to just to be in character for my own immersion. Hubris appears to be the weakest AD assassin item, especially when you consider it should look amazing statistically due to being a situational snowball item. Slow and steady trend of letting assassins spike their items earlier. It costs 200 less gold, so it's cheaper. I don't know, bro. It'll never be Sword of the Occult. I feel like it's fine to let this item be strong, given what you get out of so many other assassin items. Because, like, compared to the bonus movement speed from, like, a Yomu's, is any of this bonus AD ever really going to be that great compared to the bonus movement speed from, like, a Yomu's? Honestly, buff this item again. I guess you'd kind of be scared too, though, right? Because assassins, I mean, they're one-shotting you anyway, though. Whatever, maybe I'm overthinking it. Locket of the Iron Solari. Vanopops has been a well-received addition, but it's overshadowing first slot Locket. So 200 to 360 is now 290 to 360. So Locket, it has a better, it has a higher floor. Functional shield level 8 to 18, 265, 360 is now 290. Yeah. So it's better early and scales the same. I mean, Locket was always good, and it's still a great item. They're just trying to make you want to buy it first. Aegis of Valor. Players who are eligible for the Aegis of Valor rewards have those rewards voided if they're reported for disruptive behavior, and the reports are validated. I guess this was because of situations where people would get the Aegis of Valor, and if the game looked like it was going to be a loss, they would just play for themselves and not play with the team and stop really playing to win. Because they would rather just make sure they don't lose LP as opposed to trying to risk the double LP. As we mentioned at the start of this year, we're going to be rolling out improved positional matchups. Yeah. So, hopefully better matchmaking for autofill. Then, of course, changes to Aram Mayhem. Don't really care too much. A few new things, though. Upgrade Sword of Blossoming Dawn. Gain 100% attack speed. When you have Sword of Blossoming Dawn, your attacks against champions deal 50% damage, but increase Sword of Blossoming healing by 250%. Good for Urgot. Wee woo set bonus. Gain 50% movement speed. Your next healer shield stores 12% of the target's missing health. Oh my god. Alright, cool. More changes to the Mossy Rising, last indicators. Peacemaker High Noon Yone will be returning to the Sanctum. Great. And then you have the part 2 pass skins. Okay. Not bad. 23 minutes for our League of Legends changes here. Overall, nothing too crazy, I would think. I mean, a 20% nerf to Varus' Q to try and push Varus' poke out. And a 20% buff to AD Volibear, plus a bonus AD scaling on his W. Definitely want to play some AD Volley top. And for me, those are probably the biggest changes this patch. Overall, nothing too crazy. Nothing too terribly crazy. I don't think this is going to shake up the meta significantly in any way. I feel like this is one of the smaller patches, but it's also... It's an esports patch, right? I mean, it's for First Stand, the first major international. So you can't expect any huge game-changing things just yet.